Allen Iverson reportedly earned around $200 million in his career. He was one of the most electrifying players the NBA has ever seen. An MVP, an 11-time All-Star, a cultural icon who changed how the game looked and sounded. By 2012, according to his own divorce filings, he was spending so far beyond his means that a court document reportedly showed him bringing in about $62,000 a month, while spending around $360,000. That's a shortfall of nearly $300,000 every single month. It should be the story of a man who lost everything. Except it isn't, because of one decision he made back in 2001 that he wasn't allowed to undo. This is how Allen Iverson blew a fortune, and how one single deal saved him from himself. Here's what makes this one worth your while. Most of these stories are about the fall, the spending, the entourage, the money running out. And Iverson's story has all of that. But the reason his story matters, the reason it's different, is what was happening in the background the entire time he was overspending. While Iverson was reportedly burning through cash faster than almost any athlete on record, there was a second arrangement sitting in a vault that he could not touch, could not spend, and could not talk himself out of. He set it up years earlier, when he was thinking clearly, and it was designed for exactly the person he later became. By the end of this, you'll understand why the smartest money move isn't about discipline at all, and why who you are today might be the only one who can protect the future version of you that has to live it. Start with how big it was, because it's massive. Allen Iverson entered the NBA in 1996 as the #1 overall draft pick, and he became a phenomenon almost immediately. Over roughly 14 seasons, he reportedly earned more than $150 million in salary alone. He was, at multiple points, among the highest-paid players in the league. But the salary was only part of it. In 2001, Reebok signed him to an endorsement deal that would become one of the most significant ones in sports shoe history. His signature sneakers sold enormously. He was the face that helped Reebok compete for the basketball market. Add appearances, other endorsements, and the sheer cultural weight of being Allen Iverson at his peak, and the total career earnings are reported at around $200 million. That is a staggering amount of money for one person to earn in a lifetime. And within a few years of his last major NBA paycheck, it was reportedly almost entirely gone. The question is, how? And the answer is the same one that appears in nearly every story on this channel, just at a scale that's hard to comprehend. The money didn't vanish in one dramatic loss. It leaked continuously through a lifestyle that scaled up to match the fame and then never scaled back down. Iverson was famously, genuinely generous. And he reportedly supported an enormous circle of family, friends, and hangers-on. This entourage, by various accounts, ran into the dozens of people who depended on him. That kind of generosity, sustained for years, is its own kind of expense, and it doesn't stop when the paychecks shrink. Then there was the spending itself. Jewelry, cars, homes, the full superstar lifestyle. Here is the number that tells the whole story. In that 2012 divorce filing, Iverson reportedly reported monthly income of about $62,000 against monthly expenses of about $360,000. Hear that again. He was reportedly spending nearly 6 times what he was bringing in every single month. There's a widely repeated moment from around that time. A judge reportedly noting that Iverson had said he didn't even have the money to buy a cheeseburger. Whether or not it happened exactly that way, it captured something real. The income had slowed dramatically, and the spending hadn't. That is how $200 million disappears. Not all at once, but relentlessly. A lifestyle outrunning an income that had already peaked. By 2012, it had caught up with him. Iverson's NBA career had wound down, the major paychecks had stopped, and the gap between what he earned and what he spent had become impossible to sustain. His finances unraveled publicly, tangled up in a difficult and well-documented divorce. For a lot of people watching, this looked like the definitive end of the story. Another superstar athlete who made an unimaginable fortune and had nothing left to show for it. The headlines wrote themselves. Allen Iverson, the man who earned $200 million, reportedly couldn't cover his own monthly expenses. It's a sobering moment, and it would be the entire lesson. Spend less than you earn. Protect your future, if that were where it ended. But it isn't. Because years earlier, someone had built a wall around a piece of this fortune that even Iverson, at the time of his most out-of-control spending, was not able to manipulate. Let's go back to that 2001 Reebok deal, because this is the part almost nobody knows or talks about. When Reebok signed Iverson, the arrangement reportedly included two features that turned out to matter far more than anyone appreciated at the time. The first, a reported $800,000 a year, paid to him for life. And the second, the crucial one, a trust fund, reported at around $32 million that Iverson would not be able to access until he turned 55 years old, a date that lands on his birthday in the year 2030. Let's think about the wisdom of that structure. It wasn't a bonus, it was a lock. The single most important feature of that money was that Allen Iverson, the man earning it, was specifically prevented from touching it for decades. When his finances collapsed in 2012, that trust fund was untouchable, so it survived, quietly compounding, completely insulated from the spending that consumed nearly everything else. At the time of the deal, Iverson reportedly told ESPN, "It shows a lot of commitment, and hopefully I can stand up to my part." The genius of the arrangement is that it didn't require him to. It didn't depend on his discipline at all. It was built to work, even if his discipline failed. Which, obviously, for a stretch, it did. So the story that looked like a total collapse is really something more useful than that. Yes, Iverson reportedly blew through the vast majority of his liquid fortune. That part is real, and it's a cautionary tale on its own. But he was never destitute in the way the headlines suggested, because the structure held. The yearly payments continued. The trust fund sat waiting, growing, protected by a decision his younger self had made on his behalf. In the years since, Iverson has remained a beloved figure in basketball, his legacy only growing. A major documentary on his life and career was released in 2025, introducing him to a whole new generation. And somewhere out ahead of him, in 2030, a fund he hasn't been able to touch for nearly 30 years finally comes due. The man who couldn't stop spending in his 30s will, in his mid-50s, receive a fortune specifically preserved from the person he used to be. It is one of the most quietly brilliant financial arrangements in the history of professional sports. And its author was a version of Allen Iverson thinking clearly, decades before it was needed. So here's what we can take from it. The ordinary lesson, spend less than you earn, is true, but it's not the real one, because Allen Iverson knew that lesson, and it didn't save him. Willpower didn't save him. Discipline didn't save him. Structure saved him. The deepest money lesson in this story is that you cannot always trust yourself to make good decisions. And the smartest thing you can do is accept that now, while you're thinking clearly, and build a guardrail your future self can't tear down. A retirement account you can't easily withdraw from. Money automatically moved somewhere before you can spend it. A trust that locks the door and throws away the key for 30 years. These aren't restrictions on your freedom. They're a gift from yourself that's thinking straight to the version that might not be. Allen Iverson's discipline failed him, and it almost cost him everything. But his structure didn't. That's the move. Don't rely on being strong later. Build the wall now while you can, and let it hold the line when you can't. If this changed how you think about protecting your money from yourself, that's exactly what this channel is for. The real stories behind the money, and the lessons hiding inside them. Subscribe and stick around, because the next story is about a champion who made history in the ring and then watched a fortune slip away outside of it. You won't want to miss it.